Spider-Sonas are basically original characters that people make up as a part of the Spider-Verse, which is basically the multiverse for Spider-Man, either alternate universe versions of Peter Parker or the Spider-Man. I've seen some great Spider-Sonas since Into the Spider-Verse came out, and of course with the popularity of Across the Spider-Verse, they kinda made a comeback again, with many artists making their own original character or Spider-Sona. So I thought I'd hop into the bandwagon. I remember after watching Across the Spider-Verse, I was immediately trying to come up with a Spider-Sona. But the thing is, even though I'm a writer and illustrator, and I have my own planned out webcomic and other planned out stories from other comic universes, I'm not exactly that creative. So it was pretty intimidating for me, and the thing is with trends, specifically art trends, they die fast. I mean, usually it'd be a couple of days, maybe even a week for an art trend to last, but thankfully with something like Spider-Verse, there isn't exactly a limit with it, which gave me some time to think about it. I wanted to come up with my own universe for my Spider-Man, with his own background, own original characters, etc. I'm a big fan of the military science fiction and genetic engineering genre, from the Metal Gear series to the Spriggan anime, the Battleship movie, Resident Evil, Evangelion, all that stuff. Like I said earlier, I'm a writer, and in the second part of my webcomic, the military science fiction and genetic engineering genre are heavily present, so I don't want to use too much for my own series because I don't want people to think I'm knocking off another story, even if the story is my own. This Spider-Man is named Pedro Perez, and he's a super soldier in this universe. He wasn't exactly genetically engineered like I have for my other characters, but he was enlisted into the military by S.H.I.E.L.D. If you can't tell by his tan skin and Spanish names, he's Latino, specifically Puerto Rican. His powers are the same as almost every version: super strength, speed, durability, agility, reflexes, wall crawling, and some form of the spider sense. I wanted to add some special abilities too. One would be biological webbing, being able to manipulate it and his body transforming to more similar of a spider. He can shoot webs through his fingertips and can connect them to his other fingers. He usually does this to make either a slingshot, a rope to swing around weapons, or weaving to make nets that can also be as sharp as piano wire too. He can excrete the webbing from other parts of his body like his forearms, usually making a forearm blade or even armor to enhance his already durable exoskeleton that he can willingly grow. Like I mentioned earlier, he can transform his body similar to a spider. Miguel O'Hara, who is Spider-Man 2099, has fangs that inject paralyzing venom into a target. But with him, his fangs are more spider-like that can retract in his mouth and extend outwards, injecting in acidic venom that spiders release, that can melt flesh down to the bone in about a minute, melting through the bone in about a minute and a half. I also incorporated his facial designs like his eyebrow slits. Having 2 on each eyebrow, not only does his mask have 6 smaller upper eyes, resembling his eyebrows, but when he transforms, they also turn into actual eyes. In the art, you can of course tell that the spider legs that he likes to fight with are simply robotic. They come from a backpack resembling a spider's abdomen that he can store many various items in, canisters for his web shooters, and of course the legs fold into it. It also has a stinger as a small bit of self-defense. You'll also notice the little spider designs on his wrist, which are supposed to be very small robot spiders that attach to his gloves. He can put the canisters in them, and he can even detach them and have them be remote, traveling through small places and to web up things far away if he needs them to. His gloves are inspired from the PS4 Spider-Man knuckle design, where he had those white parts on his suit as extra armor and to damage his opponents a bit further. His design is mildly based on the outfit that Yu Ominaye wears in the Spriggan anime, a tactical combat vest with knee pads and boots. I always like the look of cargo pants tucked into boots. He has a combat knife that's insanely durable and a Desert Eagle. Now it may not look like one in the drawings, but I'm not that good at drawing something like a gun. A thing about the Spider-Verse is that there are alternate equivalents of Peter Parker and alternate equivalents of the Spider-Man. Spider-Man Noir is Peter Parker, while Spider-Man India is Paviter. Miles Morales is an alternate Spider-Man, while Miguel O'Hara is an alternate Spider-Man as well. You get what I mean? I was thinking of him just being another Spider-Man, and kind of like an alternate Peter Parker, mainly him having his initial start with a P. Now I'm gonna be real with you, I don't really have too much lore for him. I mean, I only really came up with just his design and origin behind his powers, not his actual background, but that could definitely be a video for another day. For the origin of his powers, I was thinking of combining elements of the symbiote. See, there's a reason why he's able to grow an exoskeleton, has organic webs, and can morph his body. When the Venom symbiote crashed down to Earth, it already was about to asexually reproduce, since that's what symbiotes do, already giving birth to my alternate versions of the symbiotes, which I'll be coming up with later. One of the symbiotes, which is very weak, can only snatch onto a random spider. Symbiotes are able to enhance the properties of whatever organism that they bond with. It makes the spider much larger, with much more stronger webs, stronger limbs, and more acidic venom. But because of the asteroid falling, it causes a forest fire. The fire department shows up, and the symbiote spider, barely being strong enough to escape the forest fire, is burned, and the sound of the fire trucks makes it even worse. Now the symbiote is damaged on a cellular level, it can't go from host to host by itself. It finds its way to Pedro, and is able to latch onto him. It latches onto his back and bonds with him seemingly permanently. Usually a symbiote is able to completely morph its body and the body of the host, being able to change their shape far beyond the limits of the host with seemingly no damage, but not possible with this one. Because it was so weak when it was born, and permanently damaged when it latched onto the spider, its limits are only within the spider and within Pedro. That's why he has superhuman qualities. That's why he can grow an exoskeleton and has organic webbing that he can manipulate. All part of the symbiote being able to change the shape of the web and armor. You might also be asking why he has robotic spider legs. That's because there's an end stage to his transformation that I haven't came up with and drawn yet. When his body is at its limit and he's at a life or death situation, the symbiote will fully take over, giving him a full body of armor, make near perfect webbing weaponry, and he'll grow 4 large, dangerous spider legs sprouting from his back. This comes at a cost of him going completely berserk and fighting until the symbiote knows that there is no threat at all, or if someone puts him down, either temporarily or permanently. And which this also of course gives him a weakness to fire and a weakness to sound as well. You might be wondering if he has a spider sense or not, in which he does. The symbiote has his own danger detection, working the same way as the spider sense. The symbiote can even manually use the limbs of Pedro if he's completely off guard. It can fight instinctively to the point where neither the spider or Pedro need to even be awake. You know how when the Spider-Men feel their spider sense, they get a tingling on the back of their head or their neck? Pedro gets a sharp stinging pain, as that's where the symbiote bit him to bond with him. I'm pretty proud of his overall design, and I even got all these drawings out in less than 2 days. I'll definitely be making a second video expanding more upon him too. I know it seems like he's very vague, which he is, but I'm really not too creative, and I've got my mind occupied with other stories and other videos that I need to write as well. But just know that later on I will be having a second video about him, explaining his full lore, origin, and maybe even the universe he's in. I'll do some brainstorming while I'm working on my other projects. Thanks for watching. Tell me what you think in the comments. I got links in my social description. Be kind to yourselves and each other. Thanks for watching.